Hey everyone, this is Alp Actinis here, Managing Director of Architecture and Platforms here at FP Automation. In this video for our FP&A series, where we are covering Microsoft Fabric powered by Acterys for FP&A planning, we will be talking all about debt planning. Before we get into today's detailed topic, I want to quickly recap on what we covered last time and the financial impact that has for the organization. In our last video, we talked all about P&L planning and how we are able to run a consolidation process to be able to take all of our different inputs and business logic and produce an output P&L, allowing us to do scenario comparisons and see the true profitability of the organization based on assumptions teams are making from a workforce planning standpoint, revenue and price planning standpoint, as well as CapEx planning standpoint, and other operating expenses means, to show truly what is happening across the organization and how this compares in different worst case, best case scenarios. In this video, we're going to be going into debt planning, the financing part of the organization, where teams will have the ability to be able to leverage various different long-term debt instruments to see the financial impact on the organization, both from an operating activity standpoint based on interest that's being incurred based on debt, as well as on the debt side to show how this affects cash inflows and outflows in order to be able to fund various different operations of the organization. So it's a very simple example. If we are a manufacturing organization looking to invest in a production facility and we want to save cash in order for working capital and other means, we may take on debt if there is a more favorable interest rate scenario where we can work with our respective bank in order to be able to get a favorable loan in order to be able to fund an operation, which ultimately is going to lead to further increases in cash flows from a shorter term standpoint and allow us to use our cash for another means. These are basically decisions that a finance individual or a CFO can make and immediately see the impact of those decisions from a cash inflow and outflow standpoint. So what you can see right here is that we have a debt planning module from Acterys using the Acterys table edit visual, as well as some output tables showing us what our loans look like from a beginning ending balance standpoint, as well as how that compares over time. So as an example right here, we can actually create new loans. So we'll show you a couple of different examples of loans that you can create on here. I'm going to go ahead and create a brand new loan. We'll call this one loan number 10 right here. And we can give this loan a start date. So let's say, for example, we want this loan to start on, we'll say 2025-0901. We can also indicate the loan amount as well as the interest rate. In this sort of environment, interest rates might be around roughly 7% for this organization, and we'll assume that this term is 20 months. So one of the simplest loans, and that's used across the board, is a fixed rate loan. This may be a longer term loan that has principal and interest payments that are predictable. And the idea behind this is that you can easily plug this particular loan in, whether you're a real estate organization planning for various different property purchases, or potentially an organization that is looking to use longer term debt to fund operations such as being able to invest in production facilities, let's say, as a manufacturing company. We can immediately see the GL account impact affecting our long-term debt accounts, as well as our payments for long-term debt, and then our interest as well. So immediately we can see exactly when this loan will be repaid. We can see the interest incurred as well as the principal payments made right here, following a very simple fixed rate debt instrument that is typically used out within any sort of financing scenario. Not only that, but we also have the ability to run other different loan types. And these are just one of many various different loan types we work with organizations to help put in place in order to give them the requested inputs they need as well as the outputs. So whether you're looking for a simple principal and then loan amount input mechanism and then calculating interest rate, or you're looking for something more sophisticated, these can ultimately be configured for you to work within your organization. So let's see another example right here where instead we're going to go ahead and use the same loan start date. But in this case, we'll go ahead and we'll introduce a balloon payment in this case, where the balloon payment will be made quite early. So let's go ahead and let's say, for example, that the interest rate we're going to say is 10%. We'll say the loan is 20 months. The loan type is going to be a balloon payment loan. And then we'll go ahead and say the balloon payment occurs on month number 10 right here. So the idea behind this is that the loan will be financed as if the user was making payments under a 20-month loan perspective, but we're ultimately going to have a balloon payment done within a shorter period of time. So right here, we'll have that loan in place, and then ultimately we're making principal and interest payments. And then by 10 months into the loan, we'll go ahead and repay it based on the principal that is owed at that time on this particular loan right here. So these are just many different ways of how a loan can be put in place right here. We also have other different means, such as an interest-only loan, where, for example, the user can go ahead and have a loan, have interest payments in the beginning, and then start to go into principal payments towards the end right here. So let's do the same loan right here, where ultimately we'll go ahead and say it's the same loan balance. We'll say it's an interest rate of 10%. We'll say, for example, the loan is 120 months, and then the loan type we'll put at interest only for the first 12 months right here. And by doing so, what this is going to do is this is going to show us our new loan in place. We can see that interest payments are being made for the first 12 months, and then the actual principal payments start to kick in for this particular loan right here over time. So this is just one of many examples, as we mentioned before, of how a loan can work. And you can see the various different financial impacts of that loan depending on the instrument and depending on how you're looking to plan right here. So this is a very detailed analysis, but ultimately what you can do is you can have many different ways to be able to showcase how a loan is being modeled over time and how that financially impacts the organization on a month-by-month basis. So I hope you enjoyed this particular video right here. In our next video, we'll be diving into AR and AP planning and inventory planning, which are other balance sheet drivers that we'll be talking more in detail on in terms of the cash in and cash out that the company will be retrieving, which ultimately will affect the cash flow statement. Thank you, and this is Alp signing out.